and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again. Suffocate to make me breathe again. Lose your mind from endless pain. Some things never change, never change. Oh, redemption. Some things never change, never change. Oh, they say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again.
All right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. We are back again. I wanted us to speak about Mikel Arteta's press conference reaction and things like that, but it looks like I've come a little bit earlier. He's doing it right now, so we will react to it at 9 p.m. I think that is the time. By that time, he will be done, and of course, I will look into it, and then we shall be able to react to it later. So let's get into the latest news around Arsenal, Richarlison, and the new, the new era of Arsenal strikers that is being prepared by Arsenal Football Club. That is basically what we are going to speak about. The new era of Arsenal strikers that is actually going to be coming up very, very soon. We expect Arsenal to get rid of all the strikers, although, this is some leaked content from the press conference. Mikel Arteta has been speaking to the press, or is speaking to the press actually at the moment, and actually say that he wants to keep Eddie Nketiah. We're going to be speaking about that. We will speak about that. Then we will speak about Richarlison. Is it a good move for Arsenal to go for Richarlison? Some fans like me think it's a very, very good move, and then other fans might actually think it's not a good move. But again, for me, I still feel Richarlison to Arsenal would be a very, very good move by the club. I'll tell you why I think it's a very, very good move. And then obviously, Joao Felix linked with Arsenal. Does it make sense that we are linked with a 127 million pound star? Look, I do understand why Arsenal would look at Joao Felix. Maybe if his parent club were to sell. If the parent club were to sell, then probably you'd have Arsenal having to go for Joao Felix, but it's an expensive move, very, very expensive. I don't see it happen, but we'll try to dive into that. So basically, we're gonna be talking about the forward line in this video, the forward line, and what exactly is going to be happening in the January transfer window and also in the summer. So smash a like on the video. 200 is our like target. 200 likes. If you're generous enough, we should get this to 200 likes by the end. This video is 24 hours, and of course that is the target for every video on this channel. 200 likes. So thanks everybody for joining me today. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. I hope you're really, really doing well. Let's talk about our striking situation at the club. Now let's start off with reports that Arsenal are willing to listen to offers for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, Alex Lacazette, and Eddie Nketiah. Now, what that shows you, or what that speaks about, is the fact that Arsenal are willing to let go of all the strikers available at the club at the moment, and that is what is quite, interesting. Aubameyang is our lead talisman at the moment. Lacazette is the backup striker that we have at the moment, and then Eddie Nketiah, for me, he would be the third striker in pecking order. And I think I've seen Mikel Arteta trying to bribe, Eddie Nketiah with some game time. You've seen it in the last two games against Manchester United and against Everton. He actually brought him on over Nicola Pepe. I was really surprised as well. Look, I think Pepe has really failed at this football club, but I didn't expect that Eddie Nketiah would be ahead of Nicola Pepe in terms of picking order. I didn't expect that. But anyway, let's talk about this. So, according to the transfer checker, they said this early morning that Arsenal are willing to let go of their three strikers. That is Lacazette, that is Aubameyang, and Eddie Nketiah. What do you think about that, guys? Because for me, again, it's like a clear route. Right, it's like a clear route of the forward line, and it's one thing that really held us back in the summer. We wanted to get in a striker. I think Mikel and Edu and the transfer planners knew that at some point in time we will need to go. We will need to have a striker. We will actually need to have a striker, but we didn't actually act upon it because Lacazette was going to stay, Nketiah was going to stay, which was a very, very big mistake. Yes, we didn't have a lot of time. Okay, we had a lot of time in the summer. I don't even want to be on the side of Mikel and Edu defending them that they didn't have time to do these businesses. For me, they had a lot of time to do that work in the summer, and they failed, right? It's so different from the excuse that they didn't have, from the excuse that the time was not enough. They had time and they failed to get in a striker. Now we are really struggling because of their incompetence there in the you might say they really did well. The brand of players they brought in and how they are doing, I think they're really, really doing well. But at the moment, honestly, let's speak about it. There was a weakness, right? In the summer, we should have gone for a forward. We should have brought in a serious forward. He didn't deal with our forward line, and you can see how it is actually affecting us. So the transfer checker are saying that Arsenal will be willing and are willing to listen to offers for Eddie Nketiah, Lacazette, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang January and in the summer. And I think that's a wise move for Arsenal. Why? I think it's a wise move. One is you need to let go of the past in order to move on to the present, right? Of course, Mikel has made some comments, on the striking position and what's going to happen and COVID-19. Like I said, I can't provide you with an update because it's going to be jeopardizing the purpose of this show. I will talk about Mikel Arteta later, but of course, he's having his press conference right at the moment. But I think what we have to do as Arsenal Football Club at the moment, let go of Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette and Eddie Nketiah. These are Arsene Wenger signings. They were very present. They were very much present during the Arsene Wenger era. And I think they're players that they're stains now. They're stains in the project. They're holding the project that we want to create back. With all due respect and all honesty, I think Aubameyang has been outstanding at Arsenal. Ever since he signed Arsene Wenger, it's only 2021 and 2020 that has been awful. I mean, it's only those 2 years, but I think the first 3 years, the first 4 years, after him signing for Arsenal, I think he's been so good. Of course, if you compare him to why we, to Alexis Sanchez, and then you reflect on why we signed him, because we signed him in that January transfer window, because Alexis Sanchez had gone to Manchester United. If you put that into account, if you think about it, I think he did his job well, but now he's over. It is over. He's finished. He doesn't believe in the project that we have at the team. It's the same thing with players like Alexander Lacazette. They do not fit in the project, and they do not, the project that we have does not sell to them. Because Aubameyang is 31, right? 31, 32? I think it's 32. So how do you expect Aubameyang to believe in a project that is going to mature in the next 5 years? Like literally, he will be 40. Right? When this project matures, when this project starts thinking about titles, he will be 40. Right? Lacazette as well. Yes, he's really hardworking, and I think his attitude, I really think is very, very positive. He has a very good attitude as compared to Alexander Lacazette. But I also think with Lacazette, as compared to Aubameyang, but I think it's only being professional. Lacazette is only being professional. If you asked him sincerely, does he believe in this project? There is no way he's going to believe in a project that is going to, that's going to arrive when he's 40. This is not the kind of setup that Aubameyang and Lacazette need. And with all due respect, the fact that we are blaming Aubameyang for the lack of goal scoring opportunities and the fact that he's not scoring goals, yes, I know, but let's ask ourselves, how did Aubameyang switch from a player who was playing with a smile, that kind of striker that was keen on scoring in every game, to a striker that doesn't care? It's the project, right? And I've always said that the fact that he signed doesn't really mean anything for me. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that he believes in the project. Probably it was for the money, right? What did Mikel Arteta and Edu tell him? They told Willian that in the next 3 years they're going to win the Champions League. That is what they told Willian. The truth is they lied to them. They lied to the likes of Aubameyang, they lied to the likes of Willian, and they lied to the likes of Lacazette. When of course, let me tell you this: when you want to win over like a girl, you tell them every crap in the world. You tell them every nonsense you think is appealing, and I think that's what Arsenal and Mikel did. They told lies to Aubameyang and the likes of Willian, because on top of these players not performing well, they are disinterested. They are really, really disconnected. And I think the reason is, I think they were told lies, right? They were told lies. Why did Aubameyang take so long to sign a new contract? Ask yourself. He was doing well, and the club was willing to give him the money. Why did he take a lot of time, to pen a new deal? Why? I think the reason is why it took a long time to sign a new contract is because he knew that this project is not the right one for him. He wanted to go to a club like Inter Milan probably and win the title. He wanted to go to a club like maybe maybe Bayern, maybe Real Madrid, and win a title. That's what he wanted, from Dortmund to Arsenal and then to somewhere else where he win a title. We've seen it with players like Lautaro Martinez. He has refused to join Arsenal last summer. He refused to join Arsenal last summer because they were not in the Champions League, number one, and the project they were selling didn't appeal to him. We are seeing it with Dusan Vlahovic. I'll speak about Dusan Vlahovic, but we are seeing it with Dusan. The project is the project. So I think Aubameyang, Lacazette, their project actually didn't appeal to them, and that's why their performances actually dropped. But also the fact that they're finished, right? The fact that they finished. I don't want to blame the project for Lacazette's failure. I think Lacazette has been a failure at Arsenal for 5 years. We've got to agree to that. Maybe for Aubameyang, I think Aubameyang I can find excuses for Aubameyang because Aubameyang has been that top goal scorer wherever he's been. Has been that top goal scorer. And when he came at Arsenal, the first 3 years, he was a top level goal scorer, right? So maybe I can blame that on the project and the fact that he's disinterested. Lacazette, no. But overall, it's a beautiful idea that Arsenal want to let go of Lacazette, Nketiah, and Aubameyang. We need a new brand of forwards. We need some players that will identify with the project, believe in the project, but also players that are actually going to be, fitting into what Mikel Arteta has done. We've seen it. All the players that Mikel Arteta has signed are actually doing well. They're actually, serving their master. So at the moment, maybe Lacazette, maybe Aubameyang, maybe they're not Arteta players. I mean, what should we say? Maybe they are not Arteta players. So the transfer checker are saying that those 3 players are on the market. They are for sale. And I can't blame Arsenal, honestly, right? I can't really blame Arsenal. They've been here for too long and they've become comfortable, right? They've really, really become comfortable. So that leads us to the next line, which is if they are leaving, which players are being looked at as priorities to replace Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Eddie Nketiah? Those are that is what we're going to be looking at. And let's get straight to Richarlison. Look, the report is that Arsenal are keen on Everton's Richarlison, and they would love to get him in the summer. They would love to sign him in the summer on a permanent transfer. A deal could be agreed if Arsenal table the right offer. Around 50 to 70 million euros. I think Everton, that is what they're going to ask for. Everton are yet to respond to the rumors. There is nothing like an Everton response to the rumors at the moment. Everton are still very, very quiet. Of course, now that means that we've been linked with 2 forwards from Everton. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, number 1, and number 2 is now Richarlison, the Brazilian player. Now, with Richarlison, actually, he's my main focus in this video. Really, really, interesting player for me. Why I think Arsenal should sign Richarlison? The first question to you guys is: would you take Richarlison at Arsenal? Big question. Would you take Richarlison at Arsenal? Let me know in the comments below. It's a do or die. It's a do or die. We need forwards now. We either get it right or get it wrong, right? So, would you take Richarlison at Arsenal? And make sure you smash a like on the video below on the video. Make sure you also subscribe below to the channel as well. So Richarlison, for me, I think it's taken some time ever since Arsenal had that brand of forwards, not only as a striker, but that kind of forwards, that brand of forwards that give you many goals, but they're not really strikers. I think I'll think about Lucas Podolski. When we signed in Lucas Podolski and Olivier Giroud, you had Lucas Podolski, capable of giving you 10 goals per season, and then Olivier Giroud also 10 goals per season. I think football is also driving now towards those kinds of forwards. If you look at modern football, if you look at how football is evolving, I think Richarlison, they are the kinds of forwards now that you want. Richarlison, Maina Solomon. You're talking about the likes of this boy at Ajax. Just forgotten his name. But also the likes of Rafinha at Leeds. I think that is where football is going, because again, wingers and forwards, actually, they're no longer wingers. They're forwards in modern football. Their role is no longer going to the byline and then cross the ball. I think that role has been taken up by fullbacks now. Much of the work now done by forwards or wingers is you have to cut inside on either your weaker or stronger foot. That is why many of them are playing as in forward, inverted wingers. You have to cut inside and then get yourself in those goal scoring opportunities. If you look at what Liverpool is doing and City and a couple of other clubs, they're predominantly using false nines. And the fact that the point when you're using a false nine is you trust your wingers and you trust your midfielders to get into those spaces that will be left behind by your false nine, and they will be clinical to score the goals. You look at what Jota is doing at Liverpool. He's literally doing it so well. He's driving defenders away, and then Mane and Salah scoring goals for fun. If you look at what Pep Guardiola is trying to do with the likes of Ferran Torres, with the likes of Gabriel Jesus, actually, he has drifted Gabriel Jesus away from this the number 9 position. And if you've watched Manchester City and their lineups and their football, Gabriel Jesus is actually playing to the left or to the right, whichever way the manager tells him to play. He's no longer playing as that forward. He's literally using false nine. So I think Richarlison, Arsenal do not have a player like that. One, we do not have forwards that can give us 15 goals in a good season. We have to agree to that. We do not have players like that, and we need them, right? We need them. There's no question about that. We need players like Richarlison, players that have that ability to provide you with goals, right? I think Saka's finishing is very, very poor. I think Gabriel Martinelli could be that player, but the manager actually does not give him enough game time on the pitch. And then Emile Smith-Rowe is not going to be that winger that gives you 15 goals in a season. He might give you around 7, around 8. But for me, it's more than that, and that's why I need a player like like Richarlison. I want a player we can rely on in terms of goal scoring. I want a player we can think about. I mean, it's very good if you have 3 goal scorers on a pitch, like Liverpool. They have Jota, they have Mane, and they have Salah. So when they go into a game, they're not really looking at Salah to score. They're not really looking at Jota to score. They're looking at 3 players to provide the goals. It's something with Manchester City. When they start a game, they'll be like, Bernardo can score. Yeah, and indeed, Bernardo can score. They'll be like, Gabriel Jesus can score, and indeed, Gabriel Jesus can score. Ike Gundogan can give you some goals there, and then Phil Foden, and then Jack Grealish. I think that is what we need to do, because we are literally scoring very, very few goals. Very few goals. This season, like I said, 18 goals in 15 appearances. I mean, if you're fighting the likes of Liverpool, if you're chasing United, if you're chasing big clubs, you can't have such a poor record in front of goal. Like, you can't have 18 goals. I don't know how we got here, by the way, right? And I mean, if I say I don't know how we got here, I would be lying. It would be an absolute lie. I know how we got here. Slowly by slowly, it's been a process of self-destruction. It's been a process of Arsenal, losing out their quality and not replacing it well. That's why we are now pleading with Edin Ketia to stay. It's funny, right? It's absolutely funny. So the point for me in Richarlison is his ability to score goals and his ability to influence games. He's naturally talented. So he has that, he's got that individual brilliance that he can add to the pitch, that he can add to games. I think that is one of them. And then the other thing is that he is so lethal in front of goal. And I know many people know this. If you are looking for one of the lethal forwards now in the Premier League, you're looking at Richarlison. I would have preferred to have a player like Rafinha, the Leeds forward, better. But my problem with Rafinha and why I take Richarlison is that Richarlison is more like another striker. He does whatever he does, and then he provides you with the goals. Rafinha also scores, and I think he's the leading top scorer for Leeds, but his game is not predominantly about scoring. And for me, I want 2 players or 3 players on that Arsenal pitch that have the goal mindset, that have the scoring mentality. You step on that pitch, and what you want is a goal. Be a little bit selfish. I think our players are not selfish. They're not hungry. I don't see that kind of hunger, in us, the strikers. Look at the likes of Mo Salah. Look at the likes of Robert Lewandowski. Look at the likes of Leroy Sané. Look at the likes of Serge Gnabry. When they get in front, in front of goal, Haaland, Julian Brandt, when they get in front of goal, they become different players. They know they have to take the chances. They become very, very, deadly. Arsenal players do not do that. So maybe Arsenal and Mikel Arteta and whoever is recruiting players at Arsenal has started to see it, that it is high time we start getting in that brand of players. Those players, Premier League proven, but also have the goal scoring mindset, because that is what Richarlison would actually provide us with, the ability to score many, many goals, right? And of course, I think if Richarlison came at Arsenal, either Smith Rowe or Odegaard will have to drop, because I think, again, he's not going to be that striker. He's not going to be the striker that is a number 9. I don't think I don't think we'll play him as a false 9. He either plays to the right or to the left. And if he plays to the left, then Smith Rowe drops. If he plays to the right, then Saka drops. I don't see Saka dropping. I think he also provides us something very, very different. A lot of creative, not very different, but he's the only creative piece we have on the wings. He really creates a lot, and he's being let down now by Aubameyang, by Lacazette, and the likes of Nketiah. Because look, in that Everton game, if Saka puts in that ball and it meets Robert Lewandowski, that's a goal. Honestly, That chance that Edin Ketia gets, that's a goal. The chance that Aubameyang gets, that's a goal for Robert Lewandowski. I mean, why can't we look at those forwards? I think it's high time, we started to look at such forwards. So Richarlison, would you take him? Yes, I would. How much would I be willing to pay? 70 million euros. I would, right? If you're willing to pay 80 million euros for a player like Dusan Vlahovic, that is very, very talented, but the experience is not there at the moment. He doesn't have the experience. Then we should be able to pay around 60 or 50 million euros for Richarlison. Of course, it's going to be a very big problem for Everton to let him go, especially to a club like Arsenal. One, I think if you look at Everton and Arsenal, yes, we are above them on the table, but we are at the same level, really. We have fallen to the level of Everton, and Everton are looking at themselves as a club that are competing directly with Arsenal at the moment. Honestly, because look, they have a better manager than we have. So if take away the poor performances, if they can just find that rhythm, that form, probably 10 games in a row or 8 games in a row doing well, they'll be on the same level of points as Arsenal. They would have been at the same level of points of as Arsenal. I think they're unlucky to have that very, very bad run this season. So honestly, people, to speak about it, Richarlison to Arsenal is a very, very hard deal to do. Very, very hard. Harder than Vlahovic, harder than Jonathan David, harder than all the other deals. It's a very, very hard one. Very, very hard one. But still, I can't say it can't happen because Everton, they do sell. They do sell. I mean, they've sold the likes of Rossi Barkley in the past. They've sold the likes of Jack Rodwell in the past. Romelu Lukaku to Manchester United. But again, those are big money moves, right? So I don't expect Arsenal to go there and act out of sympathy. Give us the player. If you give us the player, this and that. It's not going to be out of sympathy. You either go there and prove that you need the player, or you don't get him. But for me, Richarlison is a very, very, very good player. Thanks everybody for watching in. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you smash it out of the rooftop. My starting lineup is going to be dropping very, very soon for the Southampton game. It's going to be dropping today at 7 p.m. So make sure you do check that out. Because it's starting lineup, 7 p.m. It's going to be dropping out the starting lineup for the Southampton game. And of course, all the team news ahead of that game will be dropping as well in that video. And of course, at 9 p.m., I'll be coming up with my press conference reaction. What is Mikel Arteta saying about the striker role and situation and the lack of goals, the drought, and everything that is concerning the team, and probably the team news as well as all what you need to know ahead of our game as we go into Southampton on Saturday. Now, just something very brief. COVID-19 is actually back, and it has started destabilizing football. Mikel Arteta's press conference today has been held on Zoom, so you can see that you can sense that the level at which contact is being minimized now around football is high. So make sure you keep safe. Some games I know will get postponed, especially in January and December. I expect some games to get postponed. The Spurs game has been postponed, and a chance for us to get above Spurs. I don't care if they have 2 games in hand. I don't give a damn. As long as we can actually go ahead of them on the table, I really don't care. So be safe, guys. If you're in the UK, if you're in Europe, winter is there, and of course, we know that the virus actually moves very, very fast in very cold conditions. So make sure you're safe, guys. I love you, and I need you to be very, very safe. But let's talk about Dusan Vlahovic now, because Sport Media did put out a video, did put out information, really, an article around Arsenal's pursuit on Dusan Vlahovic. But before we do that, make sure you're going down there and you're smashing a like on the video. Thanks, everybody, for doing that. Go down there, smash a like on the video. Much appreciated if you do that. So the Sport Media said, via the Sport Witness, put up an article today, and they say the Arsenal are actually trying to convince Dusan Vlahovic to accept their project as soon as January. They want to sign him in January. They do not want to sign him in the summer. There is a lot of frustration at the moment around the club, and they would love to sign Dusan Vlahovic in January. Now, my big question is, would you love to see Arsenal sign a striker in January, or should we wait in the summer when the likes of Aubameyang can leave, when the likes of Lacazette can leave, and the likes of Edin Ketia? Should it be in January, or should it be in the summer when we get in a new striker? I would love to know very, very urgently. So let me see what you lot are saying there in the chat before we actually continue. Andrew says, that's a good move, Cossy. How are you doing, Farouk? Hope you're doing well. And he says, it's a good move. I wish we move. I wish we. I mean, it's a good move. I wish to me you, bro, when you're coming to Uganda. I'm Norway. Just know I'm your big fan. Thank you so much. We will meet. We will meet, Farouk. We will meet. Of course, if you have my digits, just tap me on WhatsApp. We will meet when you come to Uganda. Very, very. Very excited to meet to meet some of my fans. Keita says, "Hey, Cossy, what's the title? What's the title of that song you probably you play before and after the stream?" I mean, it's in the video. I even don't know. I even don't know the title of the song, honestly. But I'll try to find out for you. Don't worry. I'll try to find out for you. Rajab says, guys, just cast your like. To just cast your like. It won't cost you a penny. Thank you so much, Rajab. Good afternoon, Cossy. I'm following from Liberia. Thank you so much, Peter. Absolutely happy with that. Thank you so much for following. And then and Peter says, so what's actually the intent of this Arteta and Edu project about? We'll try to talk about that. Yes, Richarlison is a good player. It's according to some. And Peter says Richarlison is a good player, but will he agree to move to Arsenal? Big question, very, very big question, and I'm going to answer that. Sam says you're talking about Mikel Arteta. You're saying the Arsenal problem is Arteta himself because he makes very, very fake substitutions. And then Opia says Richarlison is great player with physical goal mentality, aggressive, which we lack in Arsenal. And then Peter also says Arsenal need a mutual manager at the club. Look, big question. I'm going to answer one or two questions there on Richarlison. One is, the fact that can he join Arsenal? I think, look, he can. But I think, what would be very difficult for Arsenal to sign Richarlison is that he's not an English player who thinks that Arsenal would be a ceiling, or thinks that going from Everton to Arsenal is a big move. Because look, he's Brazilian. He wants to play for Barcelona. He wants to play for Real Madrid, or probably, he wants to play for any of those two clubs. If you're Brazilian and you're in Europe, that is your dream. Of course, last summer, it was rumored that Barcelona actually wanted to sign him. I don't know what happened, and they didn't get him, but it was rumored that they actually wanted him. So, for me, Richarlison, it depends on what Arsenal can offer to such a player. One is very young, so he knows if he joins Arsenal, he's not time bound. It's like if he goes to Arsenal, it is not like he will he will never play for Barcelona, or he will never play for Real Madrid. He knows he can't go to Arsenal, play very well, play very, 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 very convincing football, and then he can be picked up by Barcelona or be picked up by Real Madrid. And I think what we have to do to tell him is that we can provide him with that stage. I mean, it's ridiculous for me to say this, but at times you use such language to attract players. Some players just want to use you as a stepping stone. And I think Richarlison, if he joins Arsenal, he's 24 at the moment. He would be here for 3 years, and then when he's 27, he wants to go to Barcelona. He wants to go to Real Madrid to win titles. So I think we can give him better as compared to Everton. If we go back to Europa League, if we qualify for Champions League, and is part of that project, yes, we are better than Everton, and of course everybody knows that. And then the fact that if he signs for Arsenal, he's gonna get a bigger pay. There is no guarantee that he will sign for PSG or Barcelona or Real Madrid. But of course, the first thing he wants, how much am I gonna earn? And Arsenal, give him the salary he wants. I think at the end we can sign Richarlison. But let's get to Dusan Vlahovic. Arsenal are not giving up on Dusan Vlahovic. He is our main target in terms of a striker at the moment. We also want Jonathan David, but Jonathan David, actually, there's been a bit of an update on Jonathan David that Lille are preparing to slap a 50 million euro price tag on Jonathan David. I'll talk about that later. So Dusan Vlahovic, 30 goals in 40 appearances for Fiorentina. Arsenal are not giving up. That's according to that is the latest update that we have, and the latest rumors are also confirming that Arsenal are actually tabling close to 80 million euros for Fiorentina. 80 million euros. Come on, look. If it is true, get it done. Get it done. Look, I'm gonna say this, right? I'm gonna say this. If that deal is true, right? If that deal is true, I think it's interesting, isn't it? It's really interesting. It's really, really interesting. But look, if it is true that we have tabled 80 million euros for Fiorentina, that means Arsenal are willing to go to every mile to get Dusan Vlahovic, right? And what is interesting for me in this story is that we want to sign him as early as January, not in the summer, right? Not in the summer, but as early as January. Of course, Arsenal will be okay to sign him in the summer if the player can actually, agree, personal terms and that. But Fiorentina, if you look at it, last week, Fiorentina boss and executive director came out and said, if anyone wants Dusan Vlahovic, they should be speaking to us. And he said, at the moment, Arsenal and Juve are the two clubs interested. Now, reports are that Arsenal have tabled 80 million euros for Dusan Vlahovic. It reminds me of Edu's comments when he was asked about the project that we are running and how it's going to be running. It reminds me because Edu said, at the moment we had a lot of things to deal with, but in the future we will be able to go out there and sign one player for 80 million or two players worth maybe 50 or 60 million euros each. I think it is coming true. It is coming to life. If you look into it seriously, I think Arsenal, with all due respect, because they can lie as a club, we can lie, but I think the project, on the pitch, not yet there, but in terms of transfers, it is actually manifesting itself. It's actually, it's looking bright. It's looking brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. If Arsenal can get in an 80 million euro signing, I will start believing in the project. I will start believing in the process. Because if you're getting an 80 million euro signing and then you're getting a midfielder, probably 30 million euros, the team looks better, right? Again, our team is not one that really, really looks too bad. I think it's just too immature. I think it's just, there's a lot of, differences in the side. You have the likes of Aubameyang who are out of interest. Then you have the very, very enthusiastic Sakas and Emile Smith-Rowe. If we can just have the same mentality all around the squad. Have Vlahovic, have Martinelli, have Saka, maybe forward, and then the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe, and then Odegaard as your number 10, and then you have maybe Zakaria and Partey and Lokonga. It makes a lot of sense. It really, really makes a lot of sense. So look, you don't know how happy I was when I looked at that story. The Arsenal wanted to get Dusan Vlahovic as early as January. That shows that there is a lot of transfer frustration in the side, right? There's a lot of not really transfer frustration. I don't want to say transfer frustration, but there is a lot of frustration with the strikers from Mikel Arteta, a couple of and the club at large. There is a lot of frustration, and you can't blame Mikel Arteta for that. You really can't, right? These players are really, really letting us down. They're missing chances for fun. They're the reason as to why we've scored less than 20 goals in 18 games. In 15 games. They're the reason. So a striker in January would be something good. But let's get then to the realistic part, because the excitement really doesn't do us any good. Can Fiorentina sell in January? Yes, they can, right? Yes, they can. Because Romano actually came out and said that Fiorentina would be willing to let the player go, even if it's in the January transfer window. But the problem is convincing the player to accept the project. That is it. Now, I want to make this clear. Vlahovic is not saying he doesn't have interest in Arsenal. He's not rejecting Arsenal. Arsenal have not done enough to sell the idea of their project to the camp of Dusan Vlahovic. Those are two very different things, right? They're two very different. Very, very different. The idea that we have not actually sold the project to him, and the idea that he rejected us, outright. Yes, the fact that he didn't, his agent was not actually picking our calls. Yeah, maybe, right? That is true. That is that much is true. And Romano also came out saying and said that the agent is actually avoiding Arsenal. But we've got to sell the project to the player. We've got to tell them. And I think that is not going to come in the summer. That's why I think if it's going to be a striker in January, unless we are going to force Vlahovic to join us against his will, which I highly doubt, right? I highly doubt that. We can splash all the money on the table for Fiorentina, but again, the player has to agree to join us, which is still the big problem. So January, I don't see us not getting a striker, but maybe in the summer, will be very, very, it will be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. But again, for me, Vlahovic, again, another talent, right? Again, another very, very, very big talent. One that I would really love to see at the Emirates Stadium, right? Apart from the reports of inconsistencies and things like that, I think he's one of those new brands of strikers that if you get him, high resale value, high ceiling, he's scoring the goals, he's very, very young. I mean, if we can't get Haaland, because we can't get Haaland, then we can get Vlahovic. You never know. I mean, we could get a striker that's going to last for 10 years at a top level. And that's what we want. You want someone that's going to be there at a top level, right? So Vlahovic, January, yes, there is a possibility. I think there is a margin. That we can get him in January, but it's going to be quite hard, right? It's going to be quite hard. We can't get him in January, but it might be quite hard, harder than we expect or we want it to be. Now, in the other reports around the club, Manchester City are interested in Nuno Tavares. Did you see that story? It's from ESPN, and I'm really frightened. Look. So ESPN are saying the Manchester City have watched Arsenal defender Nuno Tavares, who has impressed in his first season at the Emirates Stadium. City are unlikely to make a move in January for the 21-year-old. But of course, they're saying that the player remains of interest to them. I mean, it's interesting. City. Smash a like on the video, people. Thank you so much. Look. I don't know how to react to this, honestly. I do not know how to react to this, because however much I want to believe the story, it doesn't make any sense for me, right? It doesn't make any sense for me because City know that even if they want Nuno, they're not going to get him. It's true. Look, he's made a couple of mistakes, and of course that is because he is raw. And I was really too harsh, on him in the last game. But of course, I should have been harsh on Mikel Arteta because Mikel Arteta brought him on. But what I want to say about Nuno Tavares is that I think again he's that kind of is that brand of fullbacks, the likes of Cancelo, the likes of Robertson, the likes of Alfonso Davies. He's turning into he's proving to be that that brand of fullbacks that are so adventurous. They really love going forward. And they contribute a lot to the goal scoring system of the team. We've seen him. We've already seen him Arsenal, and Mikel Arteta really doesn't want to drop him. The problem with Arsenal, though, is that the whole squad, the whole way we set up, the way we play, does not guarantee Nuno Tavares' security at the back. That is the problem. If you look at Cancelo and Kyle Walker, when they go forward, they are covered. The likes of Lodri, the likes of Ruben Diaz, they cover them. They cover for them. So they always have that license. Partey is absolutely off. And the rest of our midfielders are not really doing very, very well, apart from Albert Lekong. And you can see that when Lekonga plays, we don't actually concede many goals from the right-hand side where he actually backs up Tomiyasu. If he's backing up Nuno Tavares, you have that kind of security. So I think Nuno Tavares, yes, there could be interest from Manchester City. I don't doubt that. And I will never doubt ESPN because they're some of the best outlets there in terms of credibility and reporting news. But City, no, they're never going to get Nuno Tavares. I mean, unless Arsenal are crazy. What I would expect, though, is Arsenal might decide to sell Nuno Tavares if City come in with something like 30 million or 40 million, because we bought him at 10 million euros. So if Arsenal look at it as an opportunity to make some 20 million euros as profit, maybe. But I don't see Nuno Tavares go to Manchester City. What do you think, guys? Do you think Nuno should go to City? Do you think we should let him go? For me, no. He comes in as a backup player, and I think his brand of football is quite interesting. He's a modern fullback. I wouldn't let him go. Yeah. I wouldn't let him go at the moment. Out of the picture, absolutely. So City, please rest your case. Rest your case. Out of the picture. Out of the picture. Edward says we need another striker, and we need one central midfielder and 2 strikers in January. 2 strikers in January, that is off, right? 2 strikers in January, Edward. I hear you. I hear you in that. But 2 strikers in January, it's being too optimistic compared to what Arsenal can give us, right? I think 2 strikers in January, it's too optimistic compared to what Arsenal can give us. Really too optimistic. And then Roger says, "Good evening, Cossy. I'm streaming from Yemen. Thank you so much. Of course, guys, make sure you're telling me where you're streaming from and you're hitting the like button as well." Rajab says, "Vlahovic plus Richarlison." Yeah, I mean, that's a good forward line. Vlahovic gives you the goals. I think he's capable of doing that. He's capable of giving you many, many goals per season. And then Richarlison also able to back up the goal scoring form of the team, which would be interesting as well. And Edward says we don't need Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette anymore at the club. I mean, Wenger signings should leave. I would agree with you. I think all Wenger signings have actually become into a problem now. They should leave the club, honestly. And then Kayode says, "I think it is time to leave without Aubameyang. He is affecting our team badly." Laban says, "Cossy, we need a better coach and 2 strikers in January." Look, better coach January again. Look, to be very, very real, I need Arsenal to get in a new manager, and I would love to have Erik ten Hag at the club. You know that. I would love to have Erik ten Hag at the club. Do I think Arsenal will do that though? No. I don't think Arsenal will go for a new manager in January. I don't think Arsenal will go for 2 strikers. But what I'm happy with is that there is that kind of frustration in the team. There is that kind of, resentment now. They have started to see that the likes of Aubameyang are costing us. They've started to see that the likes of Aubameyang should not be here. That's the good thing, right? That's the good thing. So there is hope that we will get someone. But 2 strikers, guys, it's unrealistic. And unless if you tell me that we go for someone like Maina Solomon or Yuri Alberto in January, and then maybe it's Vlahovic, but it's highly unlikely that we shall have such a luxurious budget in January. I think it's quite unlikely. And then Mohammed says, no, let's start off with Jack, who says, please, I'm tired of Arsenal rumors because it's showing that our club doesn't have missions and visions. But like I've already said, when you get rumors, you know where the club is standing, right? Yeah, you know the position of the club, and about his current situation. Mohammed says, Cossy, good afternoon. My confidence in Arteta as an Arsenal manager is over, but lose or win. I need to read that comment. Right, let me put it on the screen. It says, but lose or win, I am a Guna since I was 8 years old. Now I am 49. Wow, thank you so much, Mohammed. That is quite impressive. Really, really impressive. One thing I'm going to say about the managerial crisis and everything at Arsenal, Mohammed, is we are so unlucky that we've been managed by one manager for a very, very long, successful spell. So we do not know what a transition is. We have not known what a transition is for 20 years. So it's never going to be that easy. Yeah, it's never going to be that easy. Laban says, Arteta failed to manage the team. We need strikers at the moment. Big up to you, Laban. And then Mohammed says, Arsenal must sign a new striker in January transfer window. If not, Auba and Laka have already flopped. Alex says Richarlison is underrated. He is very, very good. He's a very, very good player who presses and works a lot. His physique and his height will give us no aerial advantage. Finally, he is a Premier League proven. I knew someone would say that. Yeah, I knew someone would say that. And then finally, Alemi says, not Alemi, but Muhammad says, let's keep Tavares. City were greedy of players. They signed a player from Aston Villa for huge money, and he's lost his form. That is Jack Grealish. Edward says from since Aubameyang signed bomber contract with Arsenal, he never did a good job for our lovely club. Guys, do you honestly think it's the contract? I don't know. Do you think it's the contract? Do you think Aubameyang really dropped because of the contract? I don't know. Right? I don't know. I don't think, I don't think it's the contract. I think these players were lied to. Right? Yeah. I think these players were lied to. I don't think it is it's the contract. But the last comments I want to make, before we leave, from Mikel Arteta, about Mikel Arteta and what he's been speaking about, and what he's been speaking about Edin Ketia, right? So I need to get that. Chris Whitley, where are you? And Chris Whitley and my man Charles Watts. Charles Watts actually posted that update. Okay, there we go. I have it finally. So Arteta on Edin Ketia's situation, he said Eddie has 6 months left on his contract, and we are having discussions with him and the agent to try to find the best possible way. Eddie knows how much I rate him, how much I like him, and how much I want him to stay at the club. That is according to Mikel Arteta. And I'm telling you, if there is something I'm really tired of, is hypocrisy. Yeah. If there is something I'm really tired of, is hypocrisy. Like, hypocrisy is the reason as to why Arsenal are where they are at this point. Right from Arsene Wenger's time, there's a lot of hypocrisy at this time. at this club. A lot of hypocrisy. People showing that, like, for me, Mikel Arteta knows that Eddie is not going to have a bright future at Arsenal. Let him go. He's saying that he rates him so much, he loves him so much, and he wants him to stay at the club. They're having talks with Eddie Nketiah to stay. Why on earth would we keep Eddie Nketiah? Why on earth would we? I mean, we don't need to keep a player because a manager rates him. We have to keep a player on the basis that he is good enough. That is why you need to keep a player, because he's good enough, because he's doing well, because he deserves to stay, because he fits in the project. We've played 15 games this season. How many times has Eddie Nketiah started this season? This is just hypocrisy that Mikel Arteta is doing. You know what he's doing, and I really pity Eddie Nketiah if he's gonna believe in this. You know what he's doing. Eddie Nketiah is gonna leave on a free in the summer. Let me give him some game time. That's stupid. That's a stupid decision. That's a very stupid thing to do. Very, very stupid to do. Absolutely. Like, if you believe in a striker, if you believe in a player, Aubameyang has been performing very, very poorly, right? Very poorly. Why don't we see Eddie Nketiah start ahead of Aubameyang? Why don't we? Why hasn't he given him time in the 15 games he's played? Why is he choosing him now? In every game ever since he rejected the new contract. Why? It's hypocrisy, right? It's hypocrisy. And if that's the way Arsenal is gonna run, I'm sorry, we are never gonna be a big club again. I'm telling you. We are not going to. If we want to keep Eddie Nketiah because he has refused to sign a new contract, so we play him, we are never gonna be a big, we are never gonna be a big club again. We are never. Because you've got to be ruthless, right? You've got to be ruthless. Clubs are ruthless. So if he wants to keep Eddie Nketiah, sorry, I think Arsenal has really, really, has fallen beyond the margins, beyond the heights where we can actually, salvage it. Cossy, their also problem is there's a problem in the dressing room. And then Jaka says, but Cossy, let's not blame the coach, but let's blame the owners of the club. Maybe. Maybe. Jovre says, Cossy, thanks for the show. Arteta is the problem at Arsenal. And then Laban says, Cossy, if we can get Richarlison in January, he can push us to somewhere because our strikers, Arsenal, are not doing anything this season. I don't think it's going to be January. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be January. And then Edward says, Cossy, for now, we don't need Joao Felix. We don't need Joao Felix. We need a player like Richarlison for Arsenal, and Arsenal need stubborn players like him. And then Mohammed says, let Dangote and Qatari billionaire take over Arsenal. Problems will be solved. So thank you everybody for being with me today. Make sure to smash a like on the video. Much appreciated. Let's get them to 200 likes on this video, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Hey!